Welcome to Discover Top 5, your go-to channel for exploring the most eye-opening, shocking, and thought-provoking stories from around the world. Whether it's uncovering the hidden truths of our cities, delving deep into the most pressing global issues, or revealing the secrets of history, we bring you the top 5 things you absolutely need to know. Have you ever wondered what's really going on in the places you thought you knew? Do you find yourself asking questions about the world we live in, the challenges we face, and the stories the mainstream media isn't talking about? Well, you've come to the right place. We dive deep into the facts, stories, and events that are changing the world, bringing you insights you won't find anywhere else. From incredible hidden gems of culture and travel to the darkest problems facing our society today, Discover Top 5 brings you compelling content designed to make you think, reflect, and maybe even change the way you see the world. Our team spends hours researching, analyzing, and compiling the top 5 most fascinating, complex, and sometimes controversial subjects so you can stay informed and ahead of the curve. So sit back, grab a snack, and get ready to explore the most fascinating lists and thought-provoking topics as we dive into another exciting episode of Discover Top 5. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We've got tons of exciting content lined up, and you'll definitely want to be part of this journey. Let's dive into today's list and start discovering.
Have you ever stopped to think about how the city you love is changing? You might have noticed the rise in tents popping up on sidewalks, or seen more people aimlessly wandering, lost to addiction and despair. It's not your imagination. America's biggest cities are in the midst of a dramatic transformation, and not for the better. What was once vibrant, bustling streets are now resembling scenes straight out of a dystopian movie. Skyscrapers tower above blocks filled with the homeless, the desperate, and the forgotten. It's unsettling to see this shift happening in the cities that were once considered symbols of success and progress. But how did we get here? And, more importantly, is there a way back? From New York to Los Angeles, once thriving urban hubs are now resembling real-life zombie cities. Is your city next? Let's begin in New York City, where the homeless crisis has reached alarming proportions. Over 100,000 people live in shelters or on the streets of this iconic city. Walk into a subway station, and you might find it doubling as a shelter for the unhoused, a stark contrast to its former purpose as a bustling transportation hub. Even Times Square, once the heart of New York's energy and life, has entire corners now claimed by the homeless. The cost of living is sky high, with rents soaring above $4,500 a month, forcing even full-time workers into homelessness. How did the wealthiest city in America become ground zero for this humanitarian disaster? Politicians claim they have solutions, but the reality on the ground says otherwise. Things seem to only get worse with each passing year. New York City, a symbol of prosperity, is now struggling to address its growing homelessness crisis. Head to Los Angeles, and you'll find an equally jarring transformation. Hollywood, beaches, and endless sunshine. So why are over 75,000 people living in tents across LA? Skid Row, once a forgotten part of the city, has become a sprawling open-air asylum. Venice Beach, once a tourist hotspot, now teems with encampments. Even Beverly Hills, known for its opulence, can no longer escape the effects of this crisis. The city's homelessness problem is exacerbated by a flood of fentanyl in the streets, further fueling addiction and despair. Walk through downtown LA at night, and it may feel like a scene out of a zombie apocalypse. People slumped over, others screaming at nothing, fires burning in trash cans. The LA you see in movies is fading away, replaced by a city in crisis, with rents soaring and government efforts struggling to keep pace. Is LA beyond saving? Or is this just the beginning of its downfall? Now, let's head to Chicago, where things are spiraling in a different way. Chicago is known for its deep dish pizza, brutal winters, and a history of growth and opportunity. But now, the streets are filled with abandoned buildings, increasing crime, and a growing sense of desperation. With over 68,000 people experiencing homelessness, entire tent cities have taken over parks and underpasses, with some of the most vulnerable people forced to survive in the freezing cold. The divide between the ultra-wealthy and the poor has grown wider than ever, as rising property taxes and rents force working-class families to flee. Even the Magnificent Mile, once a symbol of Chicago's economic prosperity, now faces empty storefronts. Small businesses can no longer afford to stay, and corporate giants are pulling out. The result? A city in decline, and no one seems to have an answer. Moving south, we come to Houston, Texas, a city that was once a beacon of opportunity, but now, over 33,000 people are homeless in Houston, many living in sprawling encampments under freeways and in abandoned lots. Just a few years ago, Houston was hailed as a success story for reducing homelessness, but now, things have shifted drastically. The pandemic skyrocketed housing prices, wages stagnated, and thousands of people now find themselves one bad month away from losing it all. The city's rapid growth has stretched its resources thin, leaving shelters full and affordable housing scarce. The real question now is, will Houston recover from this crisis, or is it headed for collapse? In Phoenix, Arizona, it's not just the heat that's causing problems. With over 13,000 people homeless on any given night, entire encampments are spreading across downtown. The brutal summer temperatures regularly hit 110 F or higher, and every year, dozens of people die from heat exposure while living on the streets. But this crisis isn't just about the weather. Skyrocketing rents have made it nearly impossible for working-class residents to stay in the city. In the last 5 years, rents in Phoenix have increased by 50%, forcing even those with steady jobs into shelters or the streets. The government's attempts to intervene have been insufficient. When one of the largest homeless encampments in the country, the Zone, was shut down, many people were simply forced to scatter, creating an even bigger problem. With crime rates rising and violence increasing, how does a city with so much growth and potential fall into this state? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, once known for its history and landmarks like the Liberty Bell, now faces a crisis that's spiraling out of control. Over 36,000 people are homeless in the city, and neighborhoods that once felt safe are now overwhelmed with crime, addiction, and desperation. Kensington Avenue, for instance, has become an open-air drug market where addiction and homelessness are intertwined. San Antonio, Texas, was once known for being one of the most affordable big cities in the U.S., but now, the homelessness crisis is creeping up in ways many aren't talking about. Over 3,500 people are homeless in San Antonio, and while there are no massive tent cities like in LA or Philadelphia, the crisis here is just as dire. Many of the homeless in San Antonio are families, people living in cars, bouncing between motels, or doubling up in overcrowded apartments. With rents increasing by nearly 40% in just 5 years, affordable housing is disappearing. This has led to a rise in crime in areas once considered safe, and tourists are beginning to notice the effects. Will San Antonio be able to tackle its homelessness problem before it escalates into something much worse? In San Diego, California, the city once known for its beautiful beaches and booming economy is now struggling under the weight of an overwhelming homelessness crisis. With over 10,000 people living on the streets, the city is grappling with skyrocketing rents and a severe shortage of affordable housing. Even though the city is rich in resources, the gap between the wealthy and the poor continues to widen, leaving thousands of people without a place to call home. The drug crisis, particularly fentanyl, has compounded the issue, turning San Diego's homeless crisis into a deadly epidemic. As rents soar and shelters remain full, the question is, can San Diego recover, or is this paradise lost? Finally, we turn to San Jose, California, the heart of Silicon Valley, home to some of the wealthiest companies in the world. San Jose should be a beacon of opportunity, but just blocks away from billion-dollar headquarters, thousands of people are living in tents, under overpasses, and in their cars. The median home price in San Jose is an astronomical $1.4 million, making it nearly impossible for the average worker to afford to live here. Even tech workers with six-figure salaries are struggling to make ends meet. And the situation is worse for those on minimum wage. The result? A growing homeless population and an increase in crime, including car break-ins and thefts. What was once a city of opportunity is now a city where many are struggling to survive. If things don't change soon, San Jose may face the same fate as the cities we just discussed. These 10 cities are just the tip of the iceberg. Homelessness, rising crime, and unaffordable housing are rapidly turning some of America's most iconic cities into real-life zombie cities. As the problem spreads, the question becomes, what can be done to turn things around? Will these cities find solutions, or will they continue to spiral out of control? One thing is certain, this crisis isn't going away anytime soon. As cities across America struggle to address homelessness, the future looks uncertain, and more people are being forced into a cycle of poverty, addiction, and despair.
Well, that wraps up today's journey into the world of the unknown and the eye-opening stories we rarely get to hear. We hope you found this video as fascinating and thought-provoking as we did while researching it. Every week, Discover Top 5 dives deep into the biggest, boldest, and sometimes even the most shocking topics that will make you see the world through a different lens. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps us out more than you might think, and it lets us know we're on the right track in bringing you content you love. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Join our growing Discover Top 5 community. We bring you fresh and exciting content each week that you won't want to miss. Also, be sure to click the notification bell so you're always the first to know when we upload something new. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the fascinating journeys and stories we've got planned for the future. But hey, we want to hear from you too. Leave a comment down below and let us know your thoughts on today's topic. Do you agree with the list? Or maybe there's something we missed that you think deserves a spot? We love reading your insights and discussing the stories that matter most with you. And before you go, don't forget to share this video with your friends, family, or anyone who might find this content as mind-blowing as you did. Help spread the word about Discover Top 5 because the more people who know, the bigger our community gets. Until next time, keep discovering, keep learning, and keep exploring. Stay curious and stay tuned for our next video where we'll dive into another exciting and eye-opening topic. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.